And welcome to another edition of The End Zone along with Josh Callaway. I am Colby Daniels. It is football season.
Yes.
It is finally here. I've got to say, Josh, as we kick this show off, and we're going to talk a lot of college football, this is a bittersweet start to the football season. The sweet part of it is I'm sitting at home this week and I turn on the television and there was something called football on my TV. Look, I know it's preseason action and maybe there are people that frown upon preseason action, but just having real NFL football on the television screen was a glorious, glorious day. And I didn't sit on the edge of my seat watching every play, breaking down the Chargers offense or the Lions defense or any of that, but it was good to have football on the screen. Now, the bitter part of football season starting is I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Everybody loves to hear Dallas Cowboy fans cry about their football team. That's about to happen because the Dallas Cowboys' best player has decided he's had enough of Jerry and Stephen Jones and wants out of Dallas. So he's demanded a trade. And we're off to a banging start this football season.
Yeah, and the other star players are mad about
it,
too, which is not
Everybody's mad in Dallas.
Yeah, nobody's happy. It's just a team of unhappy people. And, here we go. Season is that's another mark of the football season is here is that a Cowboy star player is upset with his contract and he can't get paid.
And why wouldn't you be?
It's a yearly thing.
It's reflective of how the fan base, I think, feels about the organization at this point. So I echo Micah Parsons' thoughts. There are days that I definitely want to declare myself eligible in the trade market for new NFL fandom, but I feel like at this point I'm pot committed, right?
That was a great
I've been
notes
around
app.
so long, I might as well just continue the self-loathing.
Yeah. All-time notes app from Micah Parsons.
Yes,
that was,
absolutely.
Took matters into his own hands.
Absolutely. Well, it feels like a much better vibe inside Oklahoma football fall camp as we got to meet the Sooners earlier this week. I know this weekend is a big fan event, and practice is officially underway. But I got good vibes, I think, just overall, as far as the coaches and players and just the feeling around the 2025 edition of the Sooners as opposed to the 2024 edition.
Yeah, vibes are definitely very, very high right now. Everyone's very excited about this new look offense, certainly with Ben Arbuckle coming in, the new offensive coordinator, and then John Mateer, right? I mean, he's the obvious. Anytime you get a new quarterback, and we talked about it, what he's doing on the field as well as off it. You know, he's really kind of that guy, as Ben Arbuckle said at the media day that you referred to. He's made this team his own, right? He's got everyone, even though he hasn't been around that long, everyone's kind of, behind him, right? They're bringing Jaden Knott, who's got everyone fired up too, all these new receivers, and the defense brings back, obviously, the majority of their stars, and they've added a couple big names as well. So definitely, I would say vibes are very high. There's kind of a confidence you can feel if Brent Venables in these players that, we're going to be much better this time around, and obviously we're all going to kind of wait and see until the games start, but there's definitely a very strong belief out of Norman that it's going to be much different this time around, and it needs to be, obviously.
Yeah, a lot more confidence. There's a swagger that obviously didn't exist with the Sooners team this time a year ago, so that's at least something to hang your hat on. We did get our first look at one of the new stars for Oklahoma, Cal transfer to Oklahoma, running back Jaden Knott, who has superstar-type ability. He was made available to the media earlier this week. I asked him, how does your skill set best fit Ben Arbuckle's offense? Let's take a listen.
Just getting me in the space, his spread offense is really exciting. There was a play a couple years ago where I lined up at the slot against Wazoo when he was there and took it in for a touchdown. And talking to him throughout this whole summer and throughout the whole recruiting process, he planned on moving me out wide and not just using me out of the backfield like a traditional running back.
He's clearly a home run hitter and a big play threat, but I think the versatility that he brings, because you already have so many talented running backs, the ability to maybe involve him in the passing game while not having to keep your other talented running backs off the field is a very interesting dynamic and wrinkle potentially to this offense.
Yeah, that's been something that they've kind of been missing. I mean, like you said, the Oklahoma running back has got talent in it. It wasn't necessarily a problem last year. I mean, they couldn't really run the ball. I don't know if anybody's assigning blame there to the running back room. Offensive line was what it was. There was no threat of pass game, right? So you don't really put too much on the running back room, but Javonte Barnes and Xavier Robinson and Taylor Tatum, these guys are all really talented, but that home run ability, that get out and catch passes like you're talking about, that's just something that wasn't totally there last year that Jaden Knott completely brings to the table. And I'll tell you what, getting to meet him, I didn't know if I realized how big he was. He is a built guy.
Yeah.
And, with DeMarco Murray, it's always kind of been a little bit of almost like a by committee sort of thing. Like they really haven't had very many bell cow running backs. I think Jaden Ott is that, like an every down guy. Like the other guys will play, they'll get snaps.
Yeah.
But Jaden Ott's going to get what? I mean, 80% of the carries, I would guess, assuming health, obviously, throughout the season. He is going to be a huge part of this thing. And getting to see him on the practice field for the first time as well, he looks the part. A lot to like with Jaden Ott.
There's definitely a gear there that you can sense
Yeah.
that, you can't wait to see him get on the football field.
Just a big-time player.
Now, again, a lot of that success is going to be predicated on the offensive line being much better. And talk throughout camp is that the offensive line is just in a completely different place than they were a year ago. I think there's been comments about them being in the film room and being in the weight room and outworking basically every other position unit. When you look at that group, how do you see the starting five taking shape or maybe the position battles within that starting five?
There are a lot of battles. I think other than Troy Everett at center, that's the one that you can pretty much pencil in right now. It's kind of up for grabs after that. I mean, in a good way. Sometimes, you say that and it's like, is there five guys that can go get it?
Right.
I really think that they have more than five guys who are capable. I expect Eddie Pierre-Louis continues to be that trendy name. I think he's got a very good shot to start at one of the guard spots. Maybe Fabechi Weewu, who's back, obviously started a lot of games last year. Jacob Sexton, does he kick inside? I think he's got a very good shot. Maybe start at tackle. I know he talked at the media day that he prefers tackle, but he might just be better at guard. I don't know. Let's see how that shakes out. A lot of people are fired up about Michael Fasusi, Ryan Foje, these young guys. I think Derek Simmons, the Western Carolina transfer, is almost certainly going to be your right tackle. So you have a couple of spots that I think are pretty steady. Troy Everett certainly at center. But there's a lot of battles that's going to shake out, up and down the lineup after that. And a lot of guys you can make an argument for that very well could be in that lineup on opening day.
Should be a ton of fun. And again, the offensive line, I think, has to be much better if John Mateer and Jaden Ott and all those transfer receivers that people have talked about, if they're going to have the success that they're capable of having because of their talent level, it starts with that group up front.
And health. I mean, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Last year they were so beat up. And I thought at the end of the year, like the last couple of games, Logan Howland, Hito Zaida, who are both back also, did some nice things. You also had that Alabama game where you ran it kind of all over the place. It was a little better down the stretch. It was at least like okay, right, the last couple of games. And so I think they have a much better chance to get off to a much faster start this time.
All right, we got to take a timeout. Top players to watch in OU's fall camp. That's next here on the End Zone. Along with Josh Callaway, I am Colby Daniels. Hard to believe that we're just 3 weeks away from the college football season beginning. Week 0 is 3 weeks away. Farmageddon, Iowa State, Kansas State, one of the feature games in Ireland to kick things off, but only 4 weeks away from both OU and OSU officially getting underway. So as practice for OU begins this week, Josh, who are the players that you are most intrigued to watch in fall camp leading up to the season?
Yeah, I've also got a handful of them. I'm going to exclude John Mateer.
It's the obvious choice.
So let's spread the love. We talked about him, Jaden Ott. I mean, he's coming in, expect to be that #1 running back, that explosion. Love what we saw in the initial kind of viewing this week. Very excited to see his role in this offense. It's going to be a big part of it. Eddie Pierre-Louis, I mentioned him. Year 2 guy. Brent Venables raves about him. Ben Arbuckle raves about him. He's only a year 2 guy. I think he's got a real shot to start at one of those 2 guard spots. Peach Adebawore, year 3, right? He's a former 5-star. Everyone is expecting, okay, it's go time for
Looks
PJ.
like a freak.
He's an alien. The length, the size. R. Mason Thomas needs a running mate. He needs a second guy. Peach Adebawore is who I think Oklahoma fans would prefer to be that guy. He's got to go get it this month. Kendall Daniels comes over from Oklahoma State. Perfect fit for the Cheetah. He's he's an alien out there. We talk about
he's
PJ
the
Adebawore.
get off the bus first guy, right?
I mean,
Holy cow.
they've had these different guys play Cheetah for Brent Venables. He seems to be the perfect fit of size and athleticism, his safety background. Very excited to see Kendall Daniels, his growth. And then Jermichael Carter, wide receiver, comes in from McNeese. He comes in the post-spring portal window. He gave some size to that room that they really needed. John Mateer has really raved about him. I think Jermichael Carter has got a chance to play a big role on this team. And, the fall is always big for those post-spring portal guys because, again, they just weren't here in the spring. So Jermichael Carter, it's going to be a big month for him, too.
How do you see P.J. Adebawore fitting into that defensive line rotation? Because it's really talented.
He's got a shot to get as much snaps as anyone. I mean, like I said, R. Mason is clearly, he's going to be your go-to guy. But on the other side, is it going to be Marvin Jones from Florida State? It's going to be Danny Okoye, who's a year 2 guy from in-state up here in Tulsa. Taylor Wine has been a trendy name who we talked to at the media day the other day. But P.J. Adebawore, again, is a guy who's a former 5-star. You look at just the size and the frame, and it's like, man, if he puts it together, that's a guy who could be as good as anyone. So it's a huge year for him. The first 2 years, he hasn't played a lot. He's been so raw. I think everyone's ready. Year 3, former 5-star. Like, it's your time, man. Like, go get it and get that other, that other edge rusher spot.
A lot of national college football writers and talking heads project OU's defensive line to not only be arguably the best in the SEC, but the best in the country.
Could be.
Colby McKenzie earlier this week was asked about them being the best in the country. He said they are, and here's why.
The depth, the eagerness to go out and get it. Like, everybody on that defensive line is hungry. They can go get the passer. They can stop the run. We literally have guys on that defensive line for every aspect of the game. So when you, from a holistically approach, man, I truly believe they are the best. So I'm excited to see it. It's not going to be a surprise to me when there's two or three new guys. You're like, well, no way. I thought that was who they were going to do that, or who was going to blow up this year per se. So I'm excited.
We just talked about those guys on the edge. For me, the reason Oklahoma is in that conversation to be the best defensive line in the country is the guys on the interior.
Yeah.
Jaden Jackson was a freshman All-American. Dominic Williams, Grayson Halton. If David Stone is able to take that next step, those interior guys to me are what separates Oklahoma from a lot of the other really talented defensive lines.
Oh, yeah, completely agree. I mean, for my money, Todd Bates' room is probably the best on the team. I mean, you go too deep with guys that talented. I mean, David Stone, a former five-star, like you said, Jaden Jackson, freshman All-American. Dominic Williams, a guy that I think some people thought could jump the NFL, decided to come back. Grayson Halton, probably one of the most underrated players on the team. He was second on the team in sacks last year behind R. Mason Thomas from the inside, right? I mean, you don't get that a lot, that ability to rush the passer from the D tackle spot. So when you go four deep there, plus you got a young freshman everyone's really fired up about, Trent Wilson. You have Marcus Strong, who's coming along, Ricky Lolohea, big man they got from Utah State. Like, that room is crazy deep. And you're right, that's why they believe, Dominic Williams said as much, unquestionably was the word he used, they're the best defensive line in the conference. And, if you're the best in the SEC, you got a chance to be the best in the entire country. It's not crazy to say, which is crazy in of itself with how far it's come in such a short time.
And it's a big reason why you can lose a guy like Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman, who were like the heart and soul of the defense a year ago, and nobody feels like the defense is going to take a big step back, and that defensive line is just so well-rounded.
It's in great shape.
It's going to be fun to watch them throughout conference play. That is Josh Callaway. I am Colby Daniels. Josh is the college football commissioner. We're going to fix college football in Moving the Chains next here on the End Zone. All right, welcome back to the End Zone. It is time for Moving the Chains along with Josh Callaway. I am Colby Daniels. All right, you're going to start with 1st and 10. You've got to pick up the first down. I'm going to give you positive or negative yards based on your answers. This is a college football commissioner version of Moving the Chains. So I am making you college football commissioner, and that's going to apply to all of these questions. So out of the gate, you're the commissioner. Fix the transfer portal, Josh Callaway.
Easier said than done. First off, the number one thing that has to happen, get rid of the post-spring. You got to have one window. Teams, I know it benefited Oakland, which is why Jay not, but these teams, to have to go through spring practice, and then you can lose, for smaller schools, they're starting quarterback sometimes, or whatever, you got to find a way to get it down to one window. Whatever that looks like, whether you move spring over, don't just get rid of spring. I've seen maybe get rid of spring altogether and just have kind of like a summer OTAs, like the NFL almost type of thing.
Right.
Whatever you got to do to get one window, because this whole winter window, spring, and then more guys leave, your roster just in shambles. Get it to one window. I think that's got to be priority number one.
As long as there's not a window that I think kills the college football postseason, because that's a big issue
you can
in
move
December.
that back. Yeah,
you have players that are opting out of bowl games and everything else.
Missing playoff games last year.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I'm going to give you a first down out of the gate. One window is the right answer. It might be. So first down already. So we're going to go with another 1st and 10.
We'll
see. Maybe you can put one in the end zone this time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Fix the pay structure of college football in regards to revenue sharing, NIL, all that. How do we just get a rein on this thing?
Yeah, I mean, the best way I can possibly think is just to make it as NFL as possible and basically let teams, schools sign guys to contracts, probably have a salary cap, and make it all open. Like, let's be open about it. John Mateer is signing for 1 year and whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Let's be real about it, because, again, kind of similar to the port with the window and the rosters in shambles. The guys being able to leave every year is part of the problem too. If you were able to sign a guy to like a 2-year deal or something, that could really help kind of stabilize things a little bit, and like letting schools with the revenue sharing pay school players directly. I think that's going to help in the long run, which is that's coming. We're getting schools in position to do that, so I think that would be a big thing for me. Just kind of being open and just kind of we're going to the NFL model, so just embrace it and just go full that way.
Make them employees, right? They're already employees.
Yeah.
We just kind of still want to pretend that they're student athletes, even though nothing in college football represents what college football used to be. That's absolutely the right answer. Everybody plays under the same pay structure, and if you want to spend money irresponsibly on freshmen or portal guys or however, you're going to have to pay the price
if you
for
cap
it.
You have to
if you
choose
cap
what
it,
you
everybody's
prioritize.
playing by the same rules. We got another first down, so
man.
2 in a row.
Oh, man.
Josh is moving the chains, and again, maybe he'll put one in the end zone. All right, fix the playoff format. Everybody has different opinions about what the format is. We have one more year of the current format before it's actually fixed, but where are you going?
Yeah, I was always someone, I like the idea of expanding it. I disagree with the notion of last year that the season wasn't as good, right? I thought the season was awesome last
I did too.
year.
Totally agree.
I think more games mattering is good. And this whole notion of like you lose in week 2 and you should be out of the race, like, no, that's not how sports work, right? That's not how any sport is. And you're
not allowed to get better, right?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Exactly, 100%. So if you told me it goes to 16 to even it out, I'd be good with that. That's my limit as far as size. Okay. I'm good with 16. I think you just kind of straight seed it. I don't know if you really worry about auto bids and that sort of thing. I like teams having home games. So if that's what it takes to get everyone a home game, then I'm on board with that. I can kind of be talking to a few different ways, but I think 16, if it goes to 16, I'm good with it. But just, I don't mind it being bigger. I thought the season last year was awesome. I thought more games were relevant. Number 10's playing number 14. It's like a playing game.
Yeah.
It's great. I thought it was fun.
I thought down the stretch of the season, having games that felt like playoff games in the regular season,
it was great.
I thought increased the drama in college football as opposed to where it usually is. I'm with you. I think 16 has to be the max. I loved the home atmospheres in playoff games. I don't know if you can do that all the way through the playoffs, but I think you got to keep that around. And you can't give, I think, conference champions automatic
conferences
buys.
aren't equal at all.
Conferences aren't equal, and that's just unfortunately a reality of college football. So another first down, 3 in a row.
We're rolling.
You are just trucking along.
We're rolling.
I love this tweet earlier this week from Brett McMurphy, who listed a number of schools that are basically going to sell tickets through Costco. This is fantastic, and this got a lot of social media conversation the last couple of days. So I will ask you, as college football commissioner, give me your most creative ticket sales ideas.
Oh, man, through Costco.
By the way, people were calling South Carolina a poor. Oklahoma State was on that list as well for selling tickets through Costco. But look, tickets are expensive.
Tickets are expensive. I don't mind it. Let's do, any. Let's get like a fast food place. You buy a combo. You can use your your receipt. You buy a Whataburger. You can take it off your bill. I don't know. That Costco is that's interesting. What does it look like? And you buy you go through and you buy it at the actual.
I think you just buy the tickets, but there's going to be like a $50 package and a $100 package, I believe. And I mean,
that's pretty
you
good.
nailed it though, touchdown, because you nailed my idea. My kids eat kids meals at Brahms so often. I feel like I spend enough money at Brahms on kids meals. Instead of giving the little coloring book or whatever it is, throw some tickets in that kids meal, and
maybe
let's
Willy
capitalize.
Wonka it a little bit. Like
there
you just put it in your burger wrapper. Like, oh look, I got a spot on the 50 for the South Carolina game.
Or end zone ticket. I'm not gonna turn my nose at end zone tickets if that's where it is, but
for sure.
I thought it was funny at least. All right, that is a touchdown for Josh Callaway on this edition of Moving the Chains. We'll wrap up the show with the easiest schedules in the country next. All right, wrapping up the show along with Josh Callaway, I am Colby Daniels. So we've talked a lot about how difficult the Oklahoma football schedule is.
Yeah.
PFF has delivered their easiest schedules in college football, and a familiar name there at number 10, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, who went 0 in conference play last year, have one of the top 10 easiest schedules in the country. Which, look, if you're looking to bounce back from a 3-9 season, having a relatively easy schedule is beneficial, I would guess.
I'm telling you, I'm getting weird vibes from Oklahoma State in a good way. We talked about it before. Whenever nobody has given them any shot, talking about how bad they're going to be, that's kind of when Mike Gundy jumps up out of nowhere. easy schedule. I mean, get the quarterback figured out. I might be in on OSU being a little surprising. Also, by the way, no SEC teams on there.
Right.
Interesting. Shout out to Kurt Signetti a little bit on that one. Notice that.
I was surprised that they were in there just simply because they have Oregon. Week
That's
2
true.
is one of their non-con
in
games.
Eugene,
So
yeah.
it's not like they're just playing like 4 FCS opponents and breezing through an undefeated non-conference portion of the schedule. But that's going to be a tough Week 2 game. But I think it's probably somewhat because the Big 12 seems to be so balanced and people don't view it as a very top-heavy league. But,
I would think it would have just been the ACC, 1 through 10, just all ACC.
There you go. We will have OSU Media Day this weekend, so we'll talk a lot more about Oklahoma State and especially those 2 quarterbacks on next week's edition of the show. That is Josh Callaway. I am Colby Daniels. Hope everybody has a great football weekend, and we're back next week here on the End Zone.